Hi, welcome back, my dear students. So now it's time for us to start basically bootstrapping our application, or let's just say putting some files in there so that way we can see how the application starts to look. For example, we want to create, and I have three files here, three folders that they're going to have some code for our front end. Okay, we need this because we need to see what in the world we are doing, right? So I got three folders here, one for the home, one for the single post, and one for our admin. Okay, now if you did not download that, and this will be located in the first lecture of this section, and it will also be in the first in the beginning lectures of the course, okay, where the reference files are. If I go here and I click, let's say, on index, I'm going to show you how our home is going to look. This is how our home is going to look. We are going to have, and I already probably explained that to you, but this is our post. When we click here, it's just going to take us to a single post page. But here, basically, it's going to have like a blog, some categories, and some links up here, and so on. Okay. So we need to make sure that this works in our application. Right now, our application, there's nothing working there. Okay. We don't even have routes. So if we go to port 4500, and our application should be running 4500, it's not working. Okay. So we need to make sure that that works. So the way we are going to be doing that is that we have to make sure that our application accepts static files. Now, the reason why we want to make sure that accepts static files is because we are going to be using some CSS that we need our application to understand, and we are going to be using maybe some JavaScript, right? So let's go back to our application. Let's just go here real quick, and let's make sure that it does accept some type of static, okay, files. So we are going to be using Express, of course. That's what this variable is all about. And we're going to inject this into our application by using use. Remember, this is how we do the middleware. Then we're going to use the Express function here to bring this static method or whatever. And here, let's include the path module that we are going to be needing here. Let's do path, and this is a built-in module, so we don't need to download it. Remember that this comes with Node out of the box, path. Okay, now the reason why you see this underline is because my IDE doesn't have like Node.js assistance. So for those of you using WebStorm, you can go and say Node assistance or something like that. I love this search right here. You see, it helps me. If I do enable, it's gonna configure that, and it's just gonna make it work. Okay. So anyway, I'm just gonna cancel that because we can do that in another video, right? I just went ahead and paused the video and clicked enable again, just because it's gonna take a little bit for me for some reason, but I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pause the video. It should be 1 second for you. Changing my what you call it, my mind so much there. For some reason mine does not want to work, but that's how it should work. Okay, I'm using a very slow laptop right now, so don't worry about that. Sorry for those seconds lost. So anyway, but that's how you enable this, and your IDE will not complain. Okay, it should work on yours. Mine is not working. I don't know why is the reason for right now, but that's not important. So let's go ahead and start playing around with this. Okay, so now that we have our path included here, let's go ahead and create this path.join. Let's use this path and the join function to include our directory. Now we can go ahead and do it like this, and we can include our directory, but this is kind of hard code data here. So the first parameter, you put the that you want to join this folder, this file with, okay, the public. Well, actually, you can leave it like this. I want to make sure that my application is a little bit more dynamic, and I want to make sure that wherever I am, whatever folder I am, or whatever file I am, is going to include that with, or basically join together with the public. Okay, like this. Now we should be able to use static files here in this public directory. Okay, so let's go ahead and right now we're not going to use this now, but we are going to use this a little later. Right now what I want to do is I want to make sure that we have some type of route so we can see something going on in our application. So I'm going to use Express, of course. Again, I'm going to do a / to make it so it goes to the root, to the port 4500. Then we are going to use the file arrow function to bring the request and the response, and we are going to show something here, right? So we want to show something here to make sure that our application is working. It's not SNED, it's send. It works. Okay, let's go back here. Oh, another one should be working, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see this. Control C just to make sure. Then we do Nodemon app.js. Let's go back. Let's open some type of browser. Go back here. Local host 4500. Oh, not 45,000, or I mean 45. There we go. We got this here. Okay. So let's go back here, and we can do a little bit more than that now. So let's where is my application? Right here. Let's go ahead and set up this views folder. Okay, so that way we can at least see something going on here. So let's create another folder. I'm gonna call this the home directory, because what we want to do is want to create different directories for different data. I want this, all the home stuff that we're gonna have in home, to be home. Maybe later on we have another one for admin, but right now this is what we got. Okay, now I also want to create a layouts directory. This is just because we are going to be using another module called handlebars. A handlebars is going to look by default for a layouts folder where we are going to be keeping our layouts. For example, if we have a layout for home, and we are going to have a different layout for the home than admin, right? So in these layouts, we are going to have, let's say, let's create this, and this is going to be in handlebars. So create a file here, and we just can call it home.handlebars, like this. Okay, that's all. Now what I'm gonna do is that in that layout, and just to see something, we are going to copy this index right here. Okay, so let's grab that and basically copy whatever is there to that file. Okay, so let me just take that out so that way I can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna drop that in there. I'm gonna Command A or Control A, Control C or Command C, and I'm gonna go to home and I'm gonna paste it in there because I want something there. I want to be able to see something. And now that that's there, let's go back to app.js. I'm gonna take that out. Okay, so now we have some data here in home.handlebars. But we're not going to be able to see anything because we have to download a module for us to see this data, right? Now, let me explain what this .handlebars is. This .handlebars is an engine, basically another module that we are going to be using to play around with variables and inside our HTML. Okay, so it's a template engine. We learn a little bit about that in this course, right? So we know what a template engine is. So let's go ahead and set up that engine so that it works with our application, okay? So right here, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use this function called engine in our Express app. And I'm going to tell it that the first parameter is, of course, the first parameter is handlebars because it wants to know which engine you were talking about. If you were using something like Jade, which is another template engine, you would do J here, right? But handlebars. And now the second parameter would be the module itself, but we don't have that module. So let's make sure that we download that module. Let's comment this out. And so the application doesn't crash. Do Control C to end that. And you can update if you want, okay? Whatever it tells you here. So I'm gonna do npm install the express hyphen handlebars. You can do that in your shell, right? So once that's installed, I'm going to require up here. So const and then it's express. I'm just gonna abbreviate it a little bit. Express handlebars, something like that, and then require. Okay, so express handlebars, just like that. So let's go back to our second. Well, not here. Where's the engine? Oh, right here. This is the engine function. So the second parameter here is going to be that is express handlebar right here. And of course, it's going to be this function that we are going to be passing an object inside, right? This object is going to have a key that I'm not making this up. It's expected this key called default layout, and it has a bunch of different keys we can use. You can go to the Express Handlebars GitHub page and find out more. But so I'm going to tell it, listen, I want you to look for a layout, and this by default is going to look in the layouts folder, and you don't have to type in the extension. You just got to tell it the name, and I'm going to be looking for this layout here every time I go ahead and use a function here that's going to be called render. This render function, okay, automatically is going to look in the views directory, and because we're setting up, this here is going to be looking in the default layouts folder here inside the views for something called home, right? For some file called home. So that's set up already. And this render is going to be looking, no matter, even if you're using another template engine, this render is always going to look in the views directory, unless you tell it don't look in there, which you can probably hack it a little bit and play around with it, right? But we want to render something there, right? And we don't even have that view there. Let's just now create some type of view, right? So I'm going to create a file here. I'm just going to call this, I'm going to come down here. I'm going to call this index, like that. Okay? Simple as that. It's nothing out of this world. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let's just have this index inside home as well. Why don't we do that? Okay? Right here. That's where it actually has to be. So render something in the directory called home, render the index. You don't have to type in the extension. Now this is, let's see what it does here. Let's go back here. Let me show you. Let's do nomon app.js, and now it's telling me, well, this HBS is not a function. Okay, let's go back here. PHBS is not a function. Express handlebar. So let me see if I made a mistake somewhere. Oh, I forgot something really important, and that is that we need to make sure that our application has recognizes this as a view engine. Okay, so we need to do a little bit more configuration here. The next line would be, we need to tell it, listen, I want you to expect the view engine to be handlebars. And now this, of course, this engine function helps us insert stuff into that engine, into that templating engine. But this set here is what tells our whole entire application, this is your engine, and the second parameter will be handlebars. So I'm sorry about that confusion there. Keep in mind again that this is the set variable. Now this is going to differ depending on the engine that you're using. So now all the time you're going to be using the same exact setup, but very similar. Okay, but this set here you're going to be using 99.9% of the time. Okay, so now if you were using another, then you will be doing something like this, and you don't have to do this for every single engine. Every engine has some type of different configuration, so you might want to look in the documentation for that. So now if I do this, it's still giving me issues here. We're just gonna debug it real quick and see what the issue here. View engine, handlebars, we got this default layout. Let's see what, and we are doing handlebars here. It looks like it's not. See, there's a typo here. Default layout, home. See, app engine. Oh, okay. Look at that. Now let's click it here, and now it's working. All right. All right. So you see, I'm not editing this video because I want to make sure that, you guys learn from my mistakes as well. So I'm just going to go here to the local 4500. I'm going to refresh. And as you can see, we got something going on here. So it is serving our file somehow, right? But the CSS or JavaScript, whatever is supposed to be working here, is not. So we need to set that up. In the next lecture, we're going to continue with this, and we're going to make this work and look nice. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next lecture.